So Joy Reid is back with one of her famous racist rants that she likes to go on. You know, she got fired from MSNBC and she's been kind of in hiding for the most part, but she pops up here and there. Today she did some podcasts with two other women. I'm not sure who they are. And she just went on this like racist rant talking about JD Vance and his wife, talking about the racist Republican Party. So I'm going to show you a few clips of just this craziness, because I just don't. If this was any other person saying all this stuff, they'd be like, oh, cancel him. But for some reason, Joy Reid can say this stuff and no one bats an eye. This content you like, make sure you like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll just play the video.
Vance has a problem in that the base of MAGA is fundamentally racist.
Yeah.
And I know people don't like it when you say it, but it's the emergence from the Tea Party to MAGA.
Yeah.
Tea Party, when you finally did the actual data, PRRI and others, the thing that most motivated them was race and hatred of non-white immigrants. Mm-hmm. What most motivates MAGA? Hatred of non-white immigrants. Yeah. They're obsessed with non-white immigrants and undocumented people. They use the term illegals, which is just the N-word for brown people.
100%.
If you want to say the N-word and it's about brown people, you say illegals. I'm sorry I said it again. That is me saying the N-word about that is what it is, right?
All right, so let's start with there. Already, 30 seconds in, she says illegal is the N-word for brown people. I'm pretty sure this is the same woman that said DEI is the N-word for minorities. Now, apparently, illegal is the N-word. It's crazy. Everything is just the N-word when it's like offensive to them. And apparently, MAGA is just racist, inherently racist against non-white immigrants because we don't want them here. First off, I don't want the white immigrants here. The European ones that are here illegally, send them back. It's just not as common. So obviously, we border Mexico. It's going to be a lot more common from Central America and Mexico for people to be here illegally than it would be from Europe. Okay, but I don't want any illegal here. I don't care what color they are.
And that's what motivates them. So they can't have the successor to MAGA be the guy with the brown Hindu wife. They're also Christian nationalists. That ain't gonna work. That's why he's throwing his wife under the bus. Poor Usha. Or she's in on it, right?
And
she's
playing slap and tickle with Erica Kirk's the weirdest shit I've ever seen. Yeah, she's like in her Tammy Faye era.
Okay. Holding on the back of his head and rubbing on his head.
Some weird shit.
Baby. Don't do that to Jason. I'm gonna start thinking something's going on.
I feel like this whole thing with Erica Kirk and JD Vance and like Usha Vance not wearing her wedding ring one time has been the dumbest, like, I don't even want to say distraction, just the most made up thing the left could like make up. Like, there's literally a million pictures of Joe Biden not wearing his wedding ring. Does that mean he's not married to Jill? Is Trump not married to Melania because he's not wearing it? Like, she could just forgot one time and there's been this big freak out. And then another time because JD Vance hugged Erica, there's these people saying that he's going to leave Usha, or Usha's on the way out, and then he's going to start being with Erica Kirk, and they're going to use this to unite the MAGA movement. It's the absolute craziest thing I have ever heard of in my life. Clearly, JD Vance loves his wife, and the comment she made there where she said he threw her under the bus, all he said was that he hopes one day that she could come around to Christianity. She has her own religion. He has his own religion. Obviously, they're fine with their dynamic like that because they've been married for years and they have children together. Clearly, that dynamic does not bother them. But I feel like you're always going to hope your significant other has the same religion as you, believes in the same faith as you. That's pretty normal. He didn't throw her under the bus. It's crazy.
Are you holding the back of his head? I'm like, you're not doing that right thing. You're supposed to be a widow. You in leather pants?
Yeah.
That's not widow wear.
Could you imagine if...
Wouldn't it be the most perfect fairy tale, MAGA fairy tale?
Yeah.
If he finally sees the light that he needs a white queen instead of this brown Hindu? I mean, I'm not saying that's happening.
Right.
Or maybe that Usha's not even in on it. Maybe she's whatever. But that's one entrant. Another entrant is, frankly, Donald Trump Jr.
So basically what she's saying so far is that JD Vance can't take over the MAGA movement or be the predecessor or whatever just because his wife's brown. In reality, if we're being completely honest, right? When it comes to a president candidate, personally for me, I can't speak for every person on this planet, I could honestly care less who their wife is because it's not relevant at all. They don't do anything. They're there for like photo ops. They do these little side things that aren't really relevant, but mostly it's just like for pictures. Who cares who their wife is or what their wife looks like? Like, it's the dumbest thing. And if you're going to sit there and be like, oh, Oh, they're not going to like a brown. Melania is a foreigner. She's an immigrant who barely speaks English. MAGA clearly didn't have a problem with her, right? So this whole argument doesn't make any sense at all.
If he can, keep it together, because he's got the name,
Yeah.
he's the son,
Yeah.
maybe it's him, right?
Right.
And then there's other entrants. Bannon can't do it because he's sloppy and look a hot mess, and
Yeah,
everybody like
total
an
alky.
ugly man. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
You're hideous. That's not gonna be him. So it's like, well, who could it be? Charlie Kirk was said to be one of the contestants to
Really?
inherit the throne. Well, he's gone. And then the other person there are two other people who I think are potential inheritors that we don't talk about as much because neither of them are politicians. One of them is Tucker Carlson.
Yeah,
Who has
totally.
been positioning himself for a long
100%
time
when he's not getting attacked by demons.
in his sleep.
That's fucking crazy now.
Come on now.
Let me ask.
He says it out loud.
But honestly, if you were Beelzebub or a demon, who best?
So they're talking about potential people that could take over the MAGA movement, right? The first person he said was Don Jr., which I don't want Don Jr. running for any political position at all. Like, just don't think he's the right fit for it, right personality. I just don't want him to be in it personally. Can't speak for anybody else. Then they said Steve Bannon, which I don't want Steve Bannon to run for anything either. I don't think he would be a good fit for a political position. And then I don't think Tucker would ever do that because I don't think Tucker would want to put himself through that stuff. So in reality, like, it's going to be interesting in 2028, especially on both sides, because it's going to be the first time since 2016 it's an open primary, like on both sides of the aisle. So it's going to be at the same time anyway. Obviously, Republicans had it in 2024, but at the same time. So there's going to be a lot of people throwing their names out there. It's probably going to be 10 or 12 Democrats, 10 or 12 Republicans. And I truly believe JD Vance has the most likely chance of getting it because he's the vice president right now. And he'll probably get the Trump endorsement. But I truly believe the most America First candidate's going to win. You can't be like Ted Cruz and be like, oh, I'm going to announce my presidency and I'm going to say my first priority is Israel. Not going to work. I've heard rumors that the Bush family wants to come back in. I'm sorry, Jeb, you're not getting it, buddy. Jeb, you're not going to ever be president. You got pretty embarrassed in 2016. So there's definitely a lot of different routes, but JD probably is most likely candidate, whether you like that or not. I have mixed feelings on that. And the Republican Party in general it's not the best. I mean, it's better than the Democrats, but that's not really saying much. So it'll be interesting in 2028. I truly feel like you were going to have to be American first candidate, say like, I don't care about other countries. I don't care about immigrants. I don't care about H-1B visas. You need to come in and be America first. Now, when it comes to Joy Reid and her absolute racist rant, could you imagine anyone else really saying this stuff? So I could maybe see Jasmine Crockett repeating that stuff because, she's also ghetto and stupid. But it's just crazy that she comes up and says illegal is the N-word for brown people. That is the dumbest thing I have ever heard in my life. And to say MAGA would not accept JD. He's literally the VP right now. MAGA loves JD Vance. Like, to sit there and say, like, you want people in MAGA to be racist so bad. Like, you've implanted that in your mind to make it, like, true. In reality, conservatives and MAGA just don't want foreigners coming in regardless of where they're from. I don't want a bunch of people from Europe flooding in here. I don't want a bunch of people from Australia flooding in here. I don't care where they're from. We just need to put Americans first, true Americans. And that's it. That's the whole thing. I don't understand what's so complicated about that. They make it a race thing because people from the third world happen to be brown and want to flood here. Like, no, we don't want any illegals here at all. So I got another clip too, which just continues on with her racism.
There isn't anything more complicated to conservatism. They want low-cost labor and they want unlimited profit without taxation. How you get there is the question. And the easiest way that I think the right has figured how you get there is that you keep the big class of people who could really fight you because they have the numbers, and I mean white people. You keep them on your side while giving them nothing economically. Okay,
let's start with that first thing she said. She said people on the right want cheap labor, and so we keep white people around. It's funny because right now with deportations, the cheap labor is getting deported, and the left is the one freaking out about it. When the deportation started happening, they said, who's going to cut your grass? Who's going to clean your toilet? Who's going to clean your house? All the low-paying jobs that they get illegals to do. They were the ones complaining about it. the MAGA and the right were happy about these deportations. And like all these like people are like, who's going to build homes? I don't know, white people, the same people that were building them 30, 40, 50 years ago, the same people that built them for hundreds of years, maybe them. I don't know. It's funny how she's trying to say that right wants cheap labor. The left is the one that wants to keep the people making $5 an hour here.
Offer them nothing. But what you offer them is whiteness. You say you get to be white, which means you're better than the blacks. You get nothing else. You get no money. We'll take your farms. Tariffs will destroy your lives. Everything gets destroyed. But you stay with us because we're white.
So basically, she says white people get together in the Republican Party, and the Republican Party decides that if we stick with them, we get to stay white. And I guess if we left, we wouldn't be white anymore. Like, that's her argument. I think this clip is more racist than the last one. It's so crazy that there's people like this exist. If you really look at the voting demographics, it's like, I think 60% vote conservative, but 40% still vote liberal. Like, it's the biggest probably split out of any of the demographics. Like, there's what's it called? Stereotypes about black people only voting Democrat, even though the Democrats don't do anything for them. Hispanics, up until this election, usually always voted Democrat. The Democrat does nothing for them besides let them, sorry, stay in luxury hotels and stuff. So yeah, the Democrats do more for illegal Hispanics than they do for black people. But black people still continue to vote for them for no reason. And I guess, according to her, all white people vote for Republicans because we as white people just want to stick together and attack the blacks. That's her argument.
You're white and we're white. And that's what we have in common. But in fact, you had people in the past like Fred Hampton that were trying, and King at the end, were saying to white working class, white poor folks, saying, hey, you know what we have in common? We're broke.
Right.
You're broke. The
Right.
Latinos are broke. Them Asians in Chinatown are broke. What if we all got together? That's the most dangerous kind of politics. It's what Mamdani is doing. If you can get to people and say, put aside the white thing for just a hot second and think about what you have. You had a 400-year head start
Right.
on these blacks and you still poor.
Yeah.
Make that make sense to yourself.
Yeah.
And maybe think about a different kind of politics where you really do vote your pocketbook, not your color.
Right.
If that ever happened, no Republican would win ever again. And they know that. So they keep the racism going. They keep the hate going. It's very useful. And so the country club types love racism.
Oh my God. People like this are exhausting. The people that keep racism alive are the people on the left that constantly talk about race in every way, shape, and form. When it comes to DEI, when it comes, oh, this is the first black VP. This is the first Indian VP. This is the first Latino this. This is the first Mexican that. You're constantly bringing up race, not conservatives. Conservatives really don't care. We have the first ever Indian American leader of the FBI. How many times does anyone in the Trump administration mention that? Never. Because they don't care. They don't care what color you are. They don't care what race you are. They just care if you can do the job. That's the big thing. And then she made a comment saying that white people stick with Republicans even though they're kept poor all the time. And we have no excuse for being poor because we had a 400-year head start. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Well, I mean, if that's your logic, slavery ended 150 years ago. Why aren't black people more rich? Huh? Like, what's your excuse? The thing is, when it comes to generational wealth, it usually runs out after 2 or 3 generations. So that doesn't make it. So 400 years ago, it doesn't even matter. You have to look back just maybe 100 years and that wealth would run out. Most white people are poor because white people have just been poor the whole time they've been here almost, except the people that were slave owners, which just wasn't that high of a population. I think it was, what, 7 or 8% of the population? Wasn't that high. And newsflash, there were black slave owners, which I bet you Joy Reid doesn't know. It's the mindset she has. She wants to paint herself and like all black people and minorities in general as like victims, but there's nothing holding them back from doing anything. And Joy Reid is a perfect example of that. And that's what drives me insane about people like her and people like Ilhan Omar and AOC and all these minority people that have made it, that have gotten really far in life, that claim that they're the exception and nobody else of their race can do it. They sit there and they get into a position where Joy Reid's a millionaire, Sonny Hostin's a millionaire, Ilhan Omar makes $200,000 a year to do nothing but speak Somalian to people. They could tell people, you guys could do this too. You minorities, you women, you could do this too. You could be just like me. Instead, they go, I'm the exception. You need help. You need reparations because you're never going to do it like I did. You are not good enough like I am to be in this position to get to where I'm at. It's absolutely insane. So yeah, these were just a few of her racist rants because she's just a professional victim is a good way to put it. And only she can get away with this stuff. And Jasmine Crockett, maybe. No, not many other people can. You know, she just says this wild stuff, and it's amazing that she actually got fired from MSNBC because they probably all agree with the stuff that she's saying. It's wild. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about these Joy Reid remarks. If you think they're racist or not, or if you think like if you think what she says is valid, let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe to the channel. Catch you next time.